Hello there, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about all things slides, specifically Google Slides and how I use them in my teaching. If you've been around a while, then you know I've pretty much always been a slides teacher. When I first started teaching, I created PowerPoints for basically every day just to guide my lessons. And over time that evolved into creating dedicated slideshows, now in Google Slides, for units that I teach, as well as my daily slides. So today I'm gonna take you behind the scenes, show you all of the slides I've been using as a fourth grade teacher this year. So every day I open up 3 slideshows: my daily slides, my math slides, and my science slides. I am departmentalized, so I only teach math and science, but I teach it to 2 different groups of students. I have a morning group of students and an afternoon group of students. So I'm gonna show you how I create and what all goes into those slides that I use to guide my instruction. But before we jump into it, I just wanna mention that the slides I'm gonna show you are all part of my Bright Google Slides templates. They do include timers all the way from 1 minute up to 30 minutes. Those timers are video files that are included. Just to show you, this is essentially what the Google Slides template looks like. And then I'm gonna show you how I go in and customize it. So for example, some of these headings, I use this black bar throughout my slideshows. All I do is right-click, copy, and then if you right-click, paste, you have that black bar. You can resize it as needed. So you're gonna see sometimes I have it really, really long, sometimes I have it short, but all of the slides were created using this template. So if you are interested in it, I will link it for you down in the description box. But let's jump into it. First off, we have my, what I call daily slides. This is technically one slideshow that I use all week long from Monday to Friday, and it guides my morning time as well as transitions between subjects as well as my dismissal time. I like to create table of contents as my first slide in almost every slideshow because I can create clickable links, and that makes it really easy to navigate to the different parts of the slideshow. So you will notice here, I have some question marks. This is where I fill in the dates. So for example, next week, Monday is September the 16th. So I would type in here 9/16. Then it goes until 9:20. So I would type to 9:20, and that would be my slideshow setup for the next week. But each of these black bars has been hyperlinked to a slide in the slideshow. So you'll notice on the left, I have the days Monday through Friday, and then on the right, I have a few other slides that I use multiple times throughout the week. So if I click on one of these, I can then navigate to that slide. And if I'm in slideshow mode, like this, you will notice I also have icons over, oh, hold on. I'm gonna mute my computer and we're gonna come back to why in a little bit because I have music playing. But I also have these clickable icons over on the side. These are just little images that I inserted in, but I have them hyperlinked as well. So I can easily jump back to that table of contents page, and from there I can click and go to any of the other slides. So no matter what slide I'm in, I can easily jump to the other slides. I'm gonna exit out of presentation mode. So now that we've talked about the table of contents, I've talked about these bars, the icons on the side, I also have some clickable links down at the bottom. So every day I do something with my class called the 4 Emerson Family Forum. It's essentially our morning meeting, but each day of the week technically has 2 or sometimes 3 slides. So for example, Tuesday, I have a direction slide that is up on the screen when my students arrive to school. It gives them directions. But then I also have the 4 Emerson Family Forum slide that I use to guide my morning meeting. So on the table of contents, I have the days of the week linked, and that goes to that direction slide for that day of the week. But then I also have the 4 Emerson Family Forum linked. So if I click on one of those, it will take me to the 4 Emerson Family Forum slide for that day. So that is the table of contents slide. And again, these black bars are all just from that template. And in order to create the hyperlink, you can just right-click on the box, and then you'll see the link button. You can also use the keyboard shortcut. It will open up a box where you can type in the link or copy and paste the link. So in order to go to another slide, for example, you can actually select the slide directly from your list, but you can also type it in. So if I wanted this to go to slide 2, I can type in slide 2 and it will pull that up. So that is a table of contents. Now let's go into those daily slides that I mentioned. Once again, I have a question mark in the little template that I've created so I can fill that in with the date. So for example, September 16th. But the rest of this stays the same. I just display the same slide every single Monday. It has their like Monday direction. So each day of the week, sometimes there are different reminders, which you'll see as we go through. And then I've just inserted my little Bitmoji for each different day of the week. On Mondays, I typically add in some images or videos, things like that, questions from the first 5, which I have shared about before. It's from EDTOMORROW. It's a daily email that I get every morning around 6 a.m. or maybe it's 5:30. I don't know. Maybe it's 5. I don't know. It's sometime in the morning that it comes through my email, but every day they will tell you it's National Teddy Bear Day, and it will give you different images and things you can use for social emotional learning. And I will typically put those here on this slide. So for example, today is Taco Day. I don't know, I'm just making that up. And then when they give me a question, I will type it in here and I'll insert some of those images or videos on the slide. Then I have my For Emerson Family Forum. I always have this schedule posted. Now this is not our actual schedule. I just created a fake schedule, but these are just, again, small black bars. I've typed the time and then I have the list of the event that is going on at that time. Most days our schedule is the same, but if there are any changes, I just go in and adjust it. On the right, I always list out this week's Golden Emerson recipient, which the Golden Emerson is a weekly award that is given to one of my students and they pass it down to the next student. If you want to know more information about that, go back and watch my behavior management video because I talk about it there. So their name stays in that box all week long. You will notice on every day of the week, I have that spot. So I just quickly copy and paste it from day to day. Then I have a little black box that says lunch count. I actually link this directly to our lunch count document. But I don't even link to the document. I link to the specific cell where I have to enter the information for our class. So just to show you how that works, I have just a blank spreadsheet, but I'm gonna show you down here on row 16. If I type in example, I can get the link to that exact row. So if I right click on row 16, come down to view more row actions, and then get link to this cell, that's going to copy a link to that specific row. I can come back to my template, click on my lunch count, right click, link, paste it, click apply. And then when I click on that, it not only opens the spreadsheet, but it navigates me directly to that row. So that's a great hack for you if you do use spreadsheets. Then I have a list of things to discuss and reminders. Again, these are gonna vary slightly depending on the day of the week, but I typically keep on there that their homework is due on Friday as a reminder. And then every Monday, I also have my Golden Emerson recipient share a set of All About Me slides to the class. So I will go ahead and link those down here so that it's easy for me to open them up in the morning. Then the next slide would be Tuesday, and for this one, the directions are all the same. The only thing I changed was the background color and my Bitmoji. But let's talk about that music. So when I went into slideshow mode, I had some music playing. If you look up here in the corner, this is actually a YouTube video of just strings music that I inserted from YouTube, and then I have it set to automatically start playing. So when I navigate to that slide, the audio from the video starts playing, but the video is so tiny up in the corner that my students don't even see it. But it just is a way for me to kind of have calming music playing in the morning, but I don't have to open up a separate file. It's just a YouTube video that I've inserted in. So then I have my For Emerson Family Forum. Again, I have the schedule, I have the Golden Emerson recipient, I have the lunch count linked. At this point, I'm usually passing out their Tuesday folders with graded papers and papers to go home, so I have a reminder for them to put it in their book bag. And then Tuesday is when we do our second step lessons, which is an SEL program. And once again, I link that to the specific lesson that we are on. And the rest of this white space usually gets filled up with any other reminders that have come up for that week. Then we have Wednesday, and this one I added in a reminder for my students to turn in their Tuesday folder to the green bin. And if you notice these little emojis, I have just copied and pasted these. I personally use a Chrome extension. It's called Joy Pixels. It is an emoji keyboard, but there are other ways you can copy and paste emojis in as well. And then for our Wednesday for Emerson Family Forum, I have a reminder on here to turn in their Tuesday folder once again. And then Wildcard Wednesday, we typically play some kind of a game as a class. So for example, coconuts. That's like rock, paper, scissors, but they all start out as a coconut, and then they evolve into a palm tree, and then they evolve into a volcano, and they have to battle someone else that is the same level as them. So if they're a palm tree, they have to find another palm tree, and whoever loses goes back down to a coconut, and if you win, you evolve into the next one. So I would type in whatever game we are playing, and then I would also probably add in emojis. So for this one, I might do a coconut, a palm tree, and then a volcano, and I would just paste that next to the text. Then we have Thursday, and once again here I just have another reminder, if you still have your Tuesday folder, get it turned in. And then for our For Emerson Family Forum, we do Thursday touch base, and usually that's just like fill in of whatever we need to do. If there's nothing kind of on the docket, then we will, as a class, just have like a little class meeting. Hey, how's everyone doing? How's everything going? It's just a chance for us to touch base. Then on Friday, I have them turn in their math homework to the bin that's on my back counter. And in the For Emerson Family Forum, I'm passing out their new homework assignment, and then we do the Golden Emerson Award. So the current Golden Emerson recipient comes up and selects the new recipient and explains why. And then we have our morning announcement slide. So if we go back to the main page, my table of contents, this is the announcement slide. Now right now it's blank because every day we have a morning announcement video that I insert in from Google Drive. And once I insert it, it fills in that white space. After that, I have direction slides for getting ready for math and science. Now for math, I have two different slides. One slide for Monday through Thursday. It just has a reminder that their math homework is due, but if they have finished it early, they can turn it into the bin, and I have some visual images to remind them which bin to turn it into. I also have visual images of what materials they need out on their desk. If for some reason they don't need all of these, like let's say on that day they don't need their math workbook, I will just duplicate this slide and then I will delete those elements that they don't need for that day. So it makes it really easy. This is kind of like the most that they ever need, and I can go in and delete things if needed. The second math direction slide has directions for turning in their homework. So this is the one that I display on Fridays, and because I am passing out their new homework, they have directions to put it in their folder. Then I have directions for getting ready for science. So once again, I have visual images for the materials that they need. And then I have like the image of the online textbook that we use from McGraw-Hill. And then the next slide is our math flex slide. So we have 30 minutes of flex time in math where students are receiving intervention, getting one-on-one support. And I have this direction slide that gives them the list of things they must do, so they have to complete their exit ticket, and you'll notice I will fill in the page number based on that day. I tell them to tear it out and put it in the bin, and then they need to get 60 minutes of time on task on iReady for the My Path lessons. Then they have their list of things they can choose from. So once again, I've added in those emojis, and then I also use highlighting to kind of bring their attention to different things. So for example, if I call your name, bring a pencil to the back table. And then the last slide is our dismissal slide. So again, I give them directions on what they need to do. And then I also have directions for my different dismissal groups. So like bus riders, here's where you need to go, so on and so forth. So that is it for my daily slides. Once again, I have this as a template and I just make a copy of the slides every week, fill in the dates, and I use this all week long. The next set of slides would be my math slides. Now, I'm gonna show you the template first, so it's gonna look kind of blank, and then I'll show you an example set. So the reason that the table of contents on the math slides has 31 days, it's not necessarily because of 31 days in a month. What I did is looked at our math curriculum, and I found the most number of lessons within a single math module, which just means math unit. And the biggest math unit we have has 31 lessons in it. So I created my template based on that, so that if there is a module that has less than 31 lessons, which there are several, I can just go in and delete the days that I don't need, and that's much easier than trying to create more and add in more hyperlinks. Hopefully that makes sense. So once again, I've got question marks where I would fill in the numbers. So for example, module 3, and then I would put in the title. So like multiplying and dividing, so on and so forth. These are all linked to those different days. Now, for my math lessons, I structured these based on our curriculum and the way that that's set up. So we do use Eureka Math. So this is the overall slide for that lesson. This is where I put the topic. So we've kind of organized the information into different topics. So I might have like 3 to 5 lessons within a single topic. Then I have the objective for that lesson. I have links to each of the different slides. So for example, the fluency slides, if I click, it will take me to that section of that day. And then the home button on those slides will take me back to the main slide for that day. So if for some reason I need to jump around or cut things out, I can. Whereas the home slide on each day takes me back to the table of contents. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. But I then list out our TEKS for the whole lesson down at the bottom. And then on each individual slide, I will list out the learning target for that specific part of the lesson. And then this one is where I put the TEKS as well. So for example, it might be 4.5D. Spiral review, I'm typically copying and pasting an image of a question and then typing out some text on the side, but I'll show you an example of that. Fluency practice are a lot of quick slides. It depends on the lesson, but I'll show you an example. For now, I just have it set up as a very basic structure, but a lot of times I'm copying and pasting from other lessons as well. Then we have our application problem, which is in their math workbook. So I have a spot down here where I can type in the page number, but they also have the option to do it on a whiteboard. Then the concept development, I have kind of the main slide as well as directions for the problem set for that day. So I tell them what page and what numbers it is in the math workbook. And then these are emojis that I've inserted in, but when I'm presenting this to the class, I will check off whether I want them to do it independent or if they have the choice to work with a partner or a group of 3. On my board, I also have the ability to add a timer. Now, if I didn't have that, I would insert in a video timer. And as I mentioned, my slides do include those. But because mine is actually through the board that I present on, I just in the moment insert in a timer and it kind of fills that spot. And then once again, I have directions for what students should do when they finish. This blank slide is where I insert in screenshots of their problem set from that day. That way, when I go over it with them, I can write and annotate directly on the board on top of those problems. Then the student debrief is a list of questions that we discuss at the end. And then I have a spot for their exit ticket. And I actually have a blank image here. So if you move it around, you'll see it's got just a white background, but it makes it really easy because it's already sized to be that 8.5 by 11. So all I have to do is select it and choose replace image, and I can pop in an image of their exit ticket, which I'll show you an example of as well. Then it goes on to the next day, and that template just repeats. So if you go here, you'll see it's set up the same for every single day. Here is an example of what those slides actually look like. I'm gonna go ahead into slideshow mode. All right, so this is an example for module 3. Once again, I can click on any of the days. So day 1, this is what that overview slide would look like. So topic A, multiplicative comparison word problems. Objective, I can investigate and use the formulas for area and perimeter of rectangles. You'll notice this one actually did not have an application problem, so I deleted that slide from it. So if I go to, for example, day 2, I have that application problem listed here. Now, because the slides are in order, I can also just click on my keyboard. So we start off with a spiral review, and this is where I've got an image and then I've got text. Okay, we've got the answer. We want to focus on how to get that answer. Find 2 different ways, and I've left some white space so that we can work out problems and I can jot down notes on the board as students share. What mistakes do we need to avoid? Then I've got the fluency practice. So I have animations all added in so that it will pop up as I click through with my clicker. So for example, 1 times 1, 2 times 2, these are all like double stacks. And those go through. Then students are going to shout out what they would multiply that number by, what product they would get. So 2 times 2 is 4, 1 times itself is 1, 10 times itself is 100. You get the point.
Oh, math, that's not so hard.
Then we have renamed the unit, so filling in the blank, so renaming tens, as well as hundreds and thousands. finding the area and perimeter, so these are just tables that I've inserted in. What multiplication sentence would we use? What's the area? Use the formula to find perimeter. So we've got several examples of these. Then we've got squares. Got another square. Then we've got some with missing sides. So we go through all of these slides. They're real fast. Then we have the application problem. I usually add in some kind of an image that goes with it. And once again, I've got the workbook page. Concept development, it kind of depends on the lesson, but for example, this one is talking about multiplicative comparisons. It wanted them to use square tiles, and I know how time consuming that is to get out, so I added digital versions on the screen just using the shapes tool. Make it 2 times as long, length and width, and these are all just animations so that as I click, they show up. And once again, this is where I'm kind of creating the template, and in real time, I would annotate on the board. And then I have where I'm giving them a set of notes. These are from my upper elementary math reference sheets and anchor chart notes. I forget the actual title, but these are editable slides and you can print them out. I print them 2 to a page and students glue them in their notebook. And typically during that time, I play some kind of a video so they have until that video finishes playing to get the notes glued in their notebook. Okay, so then we've got some problems that we're solving and I've added in images of those notes as references for my students. So this all goes through kind of the same. I've got that math workbook, so I filled in the page numbers, and then these are the screenshots from that. And then I also have a copy of the answers in case we don't have time to like go over it. Student debrief are just some questions that we're gonna discuss. And then they've got their exit ticket. So that is it for my daily slides as well as my math slides. The other set of slides would be science, and they're basically set up the same as the math slides, but I'm actually not creating those. One of my team teachers creates those, and I shared my template with her. I was like, here, hopefully this makes it easier for you. But those 3 sets of slides are what I use to run my entire day. And it's just something that has worked for me, and hopefully it at least gave you some ideas of maybe how you can utilize slides to guide your day as well. But if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I will do my best to get back to you. I can't guarantee it, but I will try. And if there are any things you want me to maybe clarify in future videos, let me know that as well. But go ahead, if this was helpful, give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. As always, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on, and I will catch you in the next one.